Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we will discuss quality management for auditors of non-issuers. A lot of terms that we need to define before we dive into this topic. So, quality management is what? Quality management is making sure we are doing a good job. Quality is good work. We're going to have to manage the quality of our audit. As auditors, what do? We issue reports. We audit financial statements, we prepare financial statements, and other people rely on those financial statements. Now, specifically in this session, we will focus on financial statements issued by non-issuers. What are non-issuers? Non-issuers are private companies. They are not listed on a stock exchange because we have non-issuers and we have issuers. Issuers are listed on a stock market like the New York Stock Exchange. We're talking about Apple Computers, Nvidia, Microsoft. Those are large companies that anyone can purchase. That's why they are called public. Anyone can buy. But why do quality management matters in auditing? Because in auditing, people rely on our decision. The bank will not issue the loan unless they see the audit and they trust our audit report is appropriate. The same thing when you buy stocks, you rely on those audit report. So we provide assurance, we provide auditing, attestation, accounting, review services that other people rely on them. And when they rely on them and they make a decision, we have to make sure that their reliance is trustworthy. They are trusting what they are seeing. Why? Because as auditors, we can do harm, we can lie, we can manipulate. So first is do no harm. Primum non nocere. Excuse my Latin, but basically this is a term that when you become a doctor, say, first do no harm. That's the first thing you want to do. And as auditors, you cannot do any harm because you are affecting the public. Well, a doctor carry an operation, it's more risk. There's a life and death, but at the same time, people could lose their money from the misconduct of auditors. But specifically today, what we'll focus on is the non-issuer engagement, which are governed by the AICPA standard rather than the PCAOB, which is govern the public. Don't worry, we'll get there to the issuer. So the purpose of quality management overall is to make sure our engagement are performed consistently. We're doing the same work every time. Ethically, we're not cutting any corners, and with professional expectation. We're doing the work that we're supposed to do. Simply put, quality management is there to protect the firm from itself, to make sure the firm is following all of these rules so we can get to the finish line and issue the report that is reliable. So I'm going to start with this example, then I'm going to call upon this example throughout the lecture to remind you. Let's assume we have two audit. Team A observe inventory in person. They count the inspected and obtain independent evidence about the inventory. And we have Team B accept the management report stating that inventory is 5 million and rely solely on that documentation. Now, both of these teams could be working for the same firm. A firm could have several teams assigned to different places. So what's the problem here? The problem is consistency. One team is following the rules, counting, inspecting, and obtaining independent evidence. The other one is not. So we want to make sure we should have a quality management system to make sure everyone in the firm is following the same process. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com. Most students and CPA candidates struggle not because audit is too hard, but because it's taught fast and the logic behind the procedure isn't explained clearly. Then everything feels disconnected. At Farhat Lectures, we break audit down step by step. We explain the why behind the standards, the logic behind the assertions, risks, procedures, evidence, so the whole process finally clicks. When the concepts connect, audit becomes clear and manageable. You stop memorizing and start understanding. Ready for auditing to make sense? Start your free trial at farhatlectures.com. The first thing you need to know about the quality management system or the quality management in a firm is it's a firm level responsibility. So who's responsible for this whole attitude of the company, the people at the top. We're not talking here about individual audit engagement. We're looking at the quality for the whole firm. The leadership, the CEO, the partners are responsible for setting the tone at the top. And how I hope you, if you haven't looked at internal control yet, in internal control we talk about the tone and the top to ensure that quality is embedded throughout the firm operation. Why is this important? Because what happens is when the top is not ethical, that culture will flow throughout the whole firm. So if leadership rewards only revenue growth and billable hours while ignoring inspection and findings like what we saw on the inventory, then employees will cut corners. Why? Because they are responsible to who? To management. And management sending them the message, just let's cut corners. Let's just have as many billable hours as possible. And this is when we have what's called ghost ticking. Ghost ticking, ticket, it's done. You don't have to do the work. It's like marking the audit procedures as done, while in reality it was not done. So think about, to give you an example, if leadership focuses only on revenue growth and ignore, the actual work, the employees, the staff will cut corners because they will be rewarded at the end of the day based on that. So first, what do we do to make sure that the tone at the top translate this? We have policies and procedures, a system of quality control written down that designed to address engagement quality, and that engagement quality should be implemented across the firm and maintained on an ongoing basis. We don't just think about this. Let's put it down. Let's tell our employees these are the policies and procedures that you have to follow. It has to be implemented through team A as well as team B, and it's not only for one engagement, it has to be an ongoing engagement. Also, what we have to know is quality management should be supported throughout all stages from cradle to grave in any particular engagement. For example, during the planning and risk assessment, for example, the firm required documentation of fraud brainstorming discussion. Make sure the employees discuss the fraud, put it down in writing, they do this step. During the field work, we have performance and supervision. Supervisors review, for example, sampling decision to make sure it's being done properly. Also, before the issuance, we have to review and document everything. An engagement quality reviewer evaluates significant judgment. And at the end, we issue a report, because this is the most important part. When we issue a report, if there is any misstatement, for example, a material understatement of warranty liabilities, overstatement or understatement, should be corrected before issuing the report. So this is an ongoing. We don't stop in this quality management. We have to support the team throughout. Now, we do have professional guidance through something we call Statement on Quality Management Standard. Now, we have to understand the difference between quality management and quality control. Quality control, think about when you work in a manufacturing facility. What happens is they inspect the product after it's done to see if it's quality control, if it meets the quality control, fix problems after they occur. The Statement on Quality Management Standard is designed to have a framework for quality management. Try to establish the framework. So before something happens, try to address it. So these standards promote risk management and proactive approach. What's proactive? Proactive means see if you can figure out the risk before it happens and deal with it. So requiring firms to identify and respond to quality risk before deficiencies, before you have a problem. For example, if revenue recognition is a high risk area, well, the firm should do what? The firm may require a second independent partner review for engagement involving high risk areas. So we create a system to address that risk, and that system will be part of our quality management. Should that be for one engagement? Absolutely not. This should be done at least on annual evaluation. At least annually, the firm must evaluate its quality system. Are we doing what we're supposed to do? Is revenue being checked by another partner? Are we making sure that people that inspect inventory are doing their job? What's the process that we have implemented so that job is being done? So management must determine whether the system is operating as intended and provide reasonable assurance that quality objectives are being achieved. What are being achieved? It's being monitored, it's being recorded, and we can confirm it. Again, this is a continuous, not a one-time thing. If any deficiencies are identified, the firm is expected to do what? Take corrective action on time, modify the policies and procedures that we set up. Maybe it's not working. Let's change the policies and procedures because they did not help us achieve what we wanted to achieve.